Naomi Hartley walked the 40 Mulefoot hogs out of the open lower barn doorway at 5 on the cool, dry Sunday morning of March 11th, 1973. The Hartley farm sat on a 160-acre hillside above the North Fork White River 3 miles east of Gainesville, Missouri. 40 hogs filed through the doorway in a slow, steady single file. Their black coats caught the first pink light off the eastern ridge. Their white face blazes flashed in the dawn. Their solid, single-toed hooves clattered on the limestone yard. Naomi counted the herd through against a leather tally book in her left hand. 40 hogs, 28 breeding sows, 8 gilts, 3 boars, 1 barrow cull held over from the autumn farrowing. Levi Hartley stood beside her in his faded blue chambray workshirt and his brown felt hat. He held the long-handled hog cane in his right hand. Jonah, at 14, held the lower pasture gate open at the foot of the limestone yard. Esther, at 11, stood at the upper pasture fence corner with the leather-bound farm journal. The hogs filed past Jonah at the lower pasture gate. They spread across the orchard grass and clover hillside in the loose foraging pattern that Levi's father Ezra had taught them across the cool, quiet autumn evenings of 1965. Across the section road to the south, on the cross-fence corner of the Hatfield Commercial Hog Farm, a red 1971 Ford F-100 pickup truck idled at the gravel shoulder. Floyd Hatfield sat at the wheel in his cheap yellow polyester shirt and his red commercial feed ball cap. Harold Cordell sat in the middle. Verlon Cantrell sat at the right. The three of them watched the 40 Mulefoot hogs file out into the upper pasture. Floyd lowered the driver's side window. The three threw their heads back in patient laughter. Floyd shouted something across the section road. Naomi could not hear him over the noise of the Ford exhaust. Levi beside her did not turn his head. Jonah at the gate did not turn his head. Esther at the fence corner did not turn her head. Naomi closed the tally book at 5:12. The 4 Hartleys walked the limestone yard back to the lower barn. The morning farrowing shed clean-out work began at 5:18. The reason the Hartley farm ran 40 Mulefoot hogs and not the standard commercial Yorkshire-Hampshire-Duroc cross that the Ozark County Commercial Swine Producers Association membership ran was a single farmer who had died 18 months earlier. Ezra Hartley was born at this farm in 1898. He died in his sleep in the kitchen rocker on the cold, dry Tuesday evening of October 19th, 1971, at the age of 73. Ezra was Levi's father. He left the farm and the 40 Mulefoot hogs to Levi and Naomi in a careful longhand will. Naomi was 35 years old when she signed the inheritance papers at the Ozark County Probate Court at Gainesville on the cool, damp Friday afternoon of November 12th, 1971. Ezra Hartley had kept Mulefoot hogs on this farm for 48 years. He bought his foundation 8-sow herd from a heritage breeder named Mr. Asa Bradshaw at Mountain View, Arkansas, in the autumn of 1923. Asa had inherited his own foundation Mulefoot herd from a Madison County, Arkansas farmer who had purchased the breed's foundation American stock at the 1897 World's Pork Congress at Indianapolis, Indiana. Ezra had paid Asa $12 per sow on a 5-year farm loan note from the Howell County Bank at West Plains. He had built the foundation 8-sow herd up to a working 40-head herd by the autumn of 1946. He had kept the herd at 40 head continuously from then until his death. Ezra had refused to switch to commercial Yorkshire and Hampshire and Duroc breeds at any point across the 48 years. He had refused commercial feed concentrates. He had refused breeding stock from any source outside his own herd. The Hartley Mulefoot herd in 1971 was a closed, self-replacing herd that had not seen an outside boar or an outside sow in 48 years. Ezra wrote down the breeding records in a leather-bound farm journal every Sunday evening at the kitchen table. The journal had begun in 1923 at his marriage to Levi's mother, Mary Hartley. Mary had died in 1963 at the age of 61. Ezra had continued the Sunday evening journal entries alone from 1963 until his own death 8 years later. The journal sat in the back bedroom dresser when Naomi and Levi inherited the farm. Naomi read the journal across the cool, quiet evenings of November and December 1971. She read all 48 years of entries from the original 8-sow purchase through the final entry on the cool, dry Sunday evening of October 17, 1971. Ezra had written his last entry 2 evenings before his death. The entry was 16 words. It read, "The herd is closed and the herd is sound, and the herd will outlast us all." The first time Floyd Hatfield mocked Naomi at the monthly Ozark County Commercial Swine Producers Association meeting was the warm Saturday afternoon of April 14, 1973 at the Gainesville Lions Club Hall on State Highway 160. 46 commercial swine operators filed into the Lions Club Hall at 2:30. Naomi and Levi took third-row folding chair seats. Floyd walked to the raised wooden lectern at 2:33 in his yellow polyester shirt and his red ball cap. He read the standard Founder Trio welcome script at the standard 8-minute mark. He told the room the late Ezra Hartley Mulefoot operation at Gainesville had passed to Levi and Naomi Hartley over the autumn. He told the room the new operators were apparently planning to continue Ezra's antique Mulefoot herd into the modern commercial era. He told the room he hoped the new operators would think hard about the modern Yorkshire and Hampshire and Duroc commercial genetics that the Ozark County Commercial Swine Producers Association membership preferred. The 43 other members in the folding chair seats threw their heads back in patient laughter. Harold Cordell threw his head back so hard his aviator sunglasses slid sideways. Verlon Cantrell threw his head back so hard his walrus mustache trembled. Naomi and Levi in the third row did not laugh. They did not move. They watched Floyd at the lectern. Levi set his left hand quietly on the back of Naomi's right hand on the folding chair armrest. He did not lift it until Floyd finished the welcome script and the meeting moved to the second agenda item. Ezra Hartley was born at the farm on the cold, dry Sunday morning of February 11th, 1898. His parents were Caleb Hartley and Sarah Hartley. Caleb had purchased the original 80-acre farm tract from a Confederate veteran named Mr. Josiah Wickham at the close of the post-Reconstruction land redistribution period in 1879. Caleb had built the lower barn and the upper farrowing shed himself across the spring and summer of 1881. The Hartley family ran a small mixed livestock operation across the 1880s and the 1890s. They kept beef cattle and dairy cattle and a small flock of laying hens and a working team of mules. They kept commercial mixed-breed hogs through the late 19th century period. Ezra grew up working alongside his father across the years between 1905 and 1917. He helped his father expand the original 80-acre tract to the working 160-acre tract by 1912. He helped his father build the second farrowing shed beside the lower barn in the autumn of 1915. Ezra left the farm at age 19 in the cool, dry autumn of 1917 for the United States Army 1st Infantry Division. He served in France at the Battle of Cantigny in May 1918. He was wounded in the right shoulder by a German artillery fragment on the bright, clear Wednesday afternoon of May 28, 1918. He returned to the farm in the cool, damp first week of October 1919 at the age of 21 with a partial right shoulder disability. He married Mary Phelps of West Plains, Missouri, at the Howell County Methodist Church on the bright, clear Saturday afternoon of June 14, 1923. Mary was 20 years old at the wedding. Ezra was 25. The two of them moved to the Hartley farm at Gainesville and took over the operation from Caleb that summer. Caleb died of pneumonia on the cold, damp Thursday morning of January 18, 1924. Sarah died of the same pneumonia 6 days later. Ezra and Mary inherited the farm. Ezra took a sabbatical equivalent 2-week trip across the Arkansas Ozarks in the cool, clear autumn of 1923 to study the surviving heritage livestock operations of the post-First World War period. He had read about the Mulefoot breed in a St. Louis Globe-Democrat Agricultural Affairs feature article in March 1923. He had decided across the spring and summer of 1923 to convert the Hartley commercial mixed breed hog operation to the heritage Mulefoot breed. He visited Mr. Asa Bradshaw I at the Bradshaw Heritage Farm at Mountain View, Arkansas, on the bright, clear Tuesday morning of October 16, 1923. Asa was a 61-year-old fifth-generation Arkansas Ozark hog farmer. Asa had inherited his foundation Mulefoot herd from his father, Caleb Bradshaw, in 1891. Caleb Bradshaw had purchased the foundation American Mulefoot stock at the 1897 World's Pork Congress at Indianapolis, Indiana. Asa walked Ezra down the Bradshaw farm pasture rows across the Tuesday afternoon. He explained the closed herd breeding methodology. He explained the pasture rotation. He explained the acorn and hickory nut autumn forage. He showed Ezra the leather-bound Bradshaw Family Farm Journal that had begun in 1891. Asa agreed to sell Ezra 8 foundation breeding sows at $12 per sow on a 5-year farm loan note from the Howell County Bank at West Plains. Ezra returned to the Hartley farm at Gainesville on the cool, clear Friday morning of October 19, 1923, with the foundation 8 sows in a small 1-mule farm wagon. The Hartley Mulefoot herd has been the same closed, self-replacing herd from that Friday morning to the present. The Mulefoot hog breed traces back to the Spanish and English colonial period pigs that arrived in the lower Mississippi River bottomlands across the 17th and 18th centuries. Spanish explorers brought Iberian pigs across the Gulf of Mexico to the Louisiana bottomlands starting in 1540. English colonists brought English breeds across the Atlantic to the Carolina and Virginia bottomlands starting in the 1620s. The two stocks crossed across the next 200 years in the bottomland forests of Mississippi and Arkansas and Louisiana and southern Missouri. The Mulefoot's distinctive solid single-toed hoof emerged in the crossbred population during the early 1800s. The unusual hoof shape resulted from a single recessive genetic mutation that became fixed in the bottomland feral pig population. The hoof carried three field practical advantages. It resisted hoof rot in wet bottomland soils, where commercial cloven hoof breeds developed chronic foot disease. It handled rocky Ozark hillside terrain better than commercial breeds. It correlated with documented resistance to commercial swine fever transmission through soil contact infection routes. The Mulefoot field population reached approximately 40,000 head across the southern Corn Belt by the 1880s. The 1897 World's Pork Congress at Indianapolis, Indiana, included a heritage breed recognition section. 3 Mississippi River bottomland Mulefoot breeders displayed their foundation stock at the Congress. One of the breeders was a Missouri farmer named Mr. Caleb Bradshaw of Marshall County, Arkansas. Caleb sold his foundation Mulefoot stock at the Congress to 7 separate buyers. One of the 7 buyers was his own son, Asa Bradshaw I. Asa bought 12 foundation breeding sows and 2 foundation breeding boars from his father for $180 cash. Asa established the Bradshaw Heritage Mulefoot operation at Mountain View, Arkansas, across the next 4 years. Asa ran the closed Bradshaw herd continuously from 1898 until his own death in 1946. Asa's son, Asa Bradshaw II, inherited the Bradshaw farm and continued the closed Mulefoot herd from 1946 until his own death in 1978. Asa's grandson, Asa Bradshaw III, took over the Bradshaw operation in 1978 at the age of 41 and continued the closed Mulefoot herd through the founding of the American Mulefoot Hog Association at Carthage in 1980. Mary Hartley died at the Hartley farm at Gainesville on the cool, damp Tuesday morning of April 19, 1963, at the age of 60. Mary had been the morning egg collector and the morning farm journal recorder and the morning kitchen table breakfast cook for 40 years. Ezra continued the Sunday evening farm journal entries alone from April 27, 1963, until his own death in October 1971. Levi was their only child. Levi was born at the Hartley farm on the cold, dry Friday morning of January the 29th, 1931. He grew up alongside the Mulefoot herd. He worked the morning feed cart rotation from age 8 onward. He left the farm for the United States Navy in August 1950 at the age of 19. He served at the Incheon Landing in September 1950. He returned to the farm in December 1952 at the age of 21. He married Naomi at the Howell County Methodist Church on the bright, clear Saturday afternoon of June 14, 1958. The wedding date was the 35th anniversary of Ezra and Mary's wedding at the same church in 1923. Naomi and Levi moved into the Hartley farmhouse in late June 1958. They worked the farm alongside Ezra for the next 13 years until Ezra's death in October 1971. The standard Founder Trio welcome script was reprinted at every monthly OCCSPA meeting across the next 13 years. Floyd and Harold and Verlin rotated the lectern host position every month. They opened every welcome script with the standard humor paragraph aimed at the Hartley Mulefoot operation. Naomi and Levi sat in the third row folding chair seats and did not laugh. Jonah and Esther sometimes attended the Saturday afternoon meetings during their high school years and did not laugh either. The work at the Hartley farm moved forward in the seasonal rhythm Ezra had documented in the Leather Farm Journal. Naomi handled the morning and evening pasture rotation walk and the daily herd health observation. Levi handled the farrowing shed birthings and the September and October weaning rotation. Jonah handled the daily feed cart and water trough fill. Esther handled the morning and evening egg collection from the small barnyard chicken flock that Ezra had kept alongside the Mulefoots since 1926. The hogs lived outdoors year-round in the 4 pasture rotation quadrants of the 160-acre hillside. They rooted through the orchard grass and clover pasture all summer. They worked the hardwood forest floor for fallen acorns and hickory nuts and persimmons every autumn. They wintered in the open hardwood forest under heavy oak leaf litter with access to the lower barn farrowing shed during the coldest February nights. Naomi added a single hand-written page to Ezra's Leather Farm Journal every Sunday evening across the 13 years. She recorded the spring farrowing litter counts and the autumn weaning weights and the winter breeding pair selections. The herd held at 40 head across every annual cycle. Jonah finished his senior year at Gainesville High School in May 1977 at the age of 18. He accepted a fully funded undergraduate scholarship at the University of Missouri-Columbia College of Agriculture for the autumn semester. He moved to Columbia at the end of August. He completed his Bachelor of Science degree in Animal Science in May 1981. He came home to the farm as a full-time herd genetics manager that summer at the age of 22. Esther finished her senior year at Gainesville High School in May 1980. She accepted a fully funded undergraduate scholarship at the University of Missouri-Columbia College of Veterinary Medicine pre-veterinary track. She moved to Columbia at the end of August. She completed her pre-veterinary Bachelor of Science degree in May 1984 and her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree in May 1986. She came home to the farm as the full-time herd veterinarian that summer at the age of 24. The herd grew from 40 head in 1973 to a working 68 head by the cool, dry autumn of 1985. The 4 Hartleys held the herd at 68 head across every annual cycle. Naomi continued to write the Sunday evening farm journal entries at the kitchen table. The journal sat in the back bedroom dresser between entries. The Hartley closed self-replacing Mulefoot herd at Gainesville, Missouri, was the largest field-scale heritage Mulefoot operation in the United States by the autumn of 1985. The American Mulefoot Hog Association at Carthage, Missouri, founded in the cool, clear autumn of 1980, had named the Hartley operation the reference site for the breed at the second annual conference at Carthage on the cool, clear Saturday morning of October 17, 1981. Naomi had attended the second annual conference at Carthage in October 1981 as the elected secretary of the American Mulefoot Hog Association. She served as the association secretary continuously from October 1981 through October 1985. The American Mulefoot Hog Association founding meeting at Carthage, Missouri. On the cool, clear Saturday afternoon of October 11, 1980, had been convened by Mr. Wilbur Pickering at the Carthage Holiday Inn conference room. Wilbur was a 68-year-old fourth-generation Carthage Mulefoot breeder. He had been writing to the 8 founding member candidate breeders across the spring and summer of 1980. He had assembled the founding 8-member roster from the American Livestock Breeds Conservancy 1978 Annual Breed Status Report. The founding meeting opened at 1:30 in the cool, clear Saturday afternoon. The 8 founding members signed the Founding Association Charter at the Carthage Civic Center across the next 2 hours. Wilbur was elected founding president. Naomi was elected founding secretary. The Carthage Civic Center foyer carried a small wooden display case with a single-mounted Mulefoot hog skull and a small descriptive plaque that Wilbur had ordered from a Joplin, Missouri taxidermy shop for the founding meeting. The plaque read, Mulefoot Hog Sus Scrofa, Solidus, Carthage, Missouri, 1980. The display case sat in the Carthage Civic Center foyer continuously from the founding meeting through the present. Naomi served as the association's secretary for 5 consecutive annual cycles. She wrote the annual association report and the quarterly breeder newsletter and the annual conference proceedings every year from 1981 through 1985. She filed the leather-bound annual conference proceedings at the Hartley back bedroom dresser beside Ezra's farm journal every December. The Hatfield Commercial Hog Farm across the section road from the Hartley farm carried a working 240-head Yorkshire-Hampshire-Duroc commercial herd in the autumn of 1986. Floyd had inherited the original commercial Hatfield hog farm from his father, Burton Hatfield, in 1958. He had expanded the herd from a working 40-head operation to the modern 240-head operation across the next 28 years on the standard commercial Yorkshire-Hampshire-Duroc cross-breeding protocol the regional commercial feed mill technical services representatives had recommended. Floyd had been on a monthly commercial bank loan payment schedule at the Ozark County Bank at Gainesville since 1963. He had financed the herd expansion across the late 1960s through the mid-1980s on a series of commercial herd expansion bank loans. The Cordell and Cantrell commercial hog farms ran similar working herds on similar bank loan financed expansion schedules. Floyd watched the slaughter transport truck pull onto State Highway 160 at 10:28 on the cool, damp Monday morning of June 30th, 1986. He could see the truck still on the highway from the cross-fence corner. He stood there until the truck disappeared at the bend below the lower White River Bridge. He walked back to the farmhouse and sat at the kitchen table without speaking. He did not eat lunch. He did not eat supper. Mary Hatfield, his wife, brought him a cup of coffee at 7:03 in the cool, damp Monday evening. He did not drink the coffee. He sat at the kitchen table until 11:20 in the cool, damp Monday night before he went up the stairs to the back bedroom. Harold Cordell and Verlin Cantrell each had similar evenings at their own kitchen tables on the cool, damp first Monday and second Monday of July, 1986. The Ozark County Bank at Gainesville called the 3 commercial herd expansion bank loans into default on the cool, damp Friday morning of August 1st, 1986. The 3 Hatfield and Cordell and Cantrell commercial properties went on the Ozark County Tax Assessor combined quarterly auction notice list on the cool, damp Monday morning of August 11th, 1986. The 13 working years between 1973 and 1985 carried 48 separate spring farrowing cycles, 26 summer pasture rotation seasons, 13 autumn hardwood forage seasons, and 13 winter barn shelter cycles at the Hartley farm. Jonah began the lower barn feed cart rotation at age 12 in 1971. He had taken the morning feed cart from his grandfather Ezra in the cool, dry summer of 1971, a few months before Ezra's death. He continued the feed cart rotation continuously until he left for the University of Missouri in August 1977 at age 18. Esther began the egg collection at age 6 in 1968. She had taken the morning egg collection from her grandmother Mary across the cool, quiet summer of 1962 and had run the egg collection continuously until her own departure for the University of Missouri in August 1980, at age 18. The Hartley operation supplied approximately 1,800 dozen eggs to the Gainesville General Store on State Highway 160 across each calendar year between 1962 and 1980. The general store proprietor, Mr. Phineas Whitlock, paid the Hartley operation 32 cents per dozen across the working years. Phineas died in October 1979, and his daughter, Lavinia Whitlock Pemberton, took over the general store and continued the same Hartley egg supply contract at the same per dozen rate until Esther left for college the following August. Lavinia closed the general store in December 1980 after the Hartley egg supply ended. She moved to Springfield, Missouri the following spring. Jonah's University of Missouri-Columbia College of Agriculture Bachelor of Science Studies between August 1977 and May 1981 included a senior year independent research project on the closed-herd Mulefoot breeding program genetics at the Hartley farm. His senior thesis advisor was Dr. Catherine Hollister of the College of Veterinary Medicine. Catherine had first met the Hartley family through Jonah's thesis project in autumn 1980. She drove out to the Hartley farm in May 1981 for Jonah's thesis defense site visit. She read Ezra's Leather Farm Journal across the bright, clear Friday afternoon of May 15, 1981, in slow, careful silence. She knew the journal by heart from the autumn of 1981 onward. Esther's University of Missouri-Columbia College of Veterinary Medicine, Pre-Veterinary Studies between August 1980 and May 1984, and her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine Studies between August 1984 and May 1986 included a focus on heritage livestock disease resistance breeding. Her DVM thesis was the molecular genetics workup of the documented Mulefoot resistance to soil contact swine disease transmission. Her thesis advisor was Catherine Hollister. Catherine and Esther worked together at the Columbia Veterinary School Laboratory continuously across the 4-year DVM period. The American Livestock Breeds Conservancy at Pittsboro, North Carolina, had named the Hartley operation the largest field-scale working Mulefoot herd in the country in their first annual breed status report of 1978. The Conservancy updated the report every December across the subsequent 8 years. Each annual report listed the Hartley operation at the top of the Mulefoot field population by farm table. The 1985 report listed 68 head at the Hartley farm against the total national Mulefoot field population of approximately 192 head. The Hartley operation carried approximately 35% of the national breed population by the autumn of 1985. Pseudorabies is a viral disease of commercial swine caused by the Pseudoherpes virus type 1. The virus had emerged in American commercial swine herds across the late 1950s and the 1960s. By the early 1980s, the virus had reached approximately 18% of American commercial swine operations in the upper Midwest and approximately 23% in the southern Corn Belt. The virus spread through commercial breeding stock movement and commercial feed contamination and farm-to-farm aerosol transmission across short distances. The clinical effects of the virus included severe reproductive losses in commercial sows. Affected sows aborted their litters in late gestation. Affected boars went sterile. Affected piglets died of central nervous system symptoms within 7 to 14 days of birth. The commercial American swine industry losses from pseudorabies reached approximately $140 million per year by 1984. The USDA APHIS launched the National Pseudorabies Eradication Program in early 1986. The program covered all 50 states. The program required every commercial and heritage swine operation to test the entire herd within 60 days of state notification. Every blood test positive animal went to slaughter under federal quarantine. The slaughter compensation was $30 per hundredweight. Commercial operations using purchased breeding stock and commercial feed concentrates from feed mills across the regional commercial feed pipeline carried high pseudorabies positive rates. Heritage closed herd pasture-based operations carried low or zero pseudorabies positive rates. The closed Hartley herd at Gainesville had not seen an outside boar or an outside sow in 63 years by the autumn of 1986. The herd had not eaten any commercial feed concentrate since the original Ezra Hartley protocol of 1923. The herd had no pseudorabies virus entry route. The Hartley Clean Herd certification was the predicted outcome of the closed herd protocol. The day-to-day work at the Hartley farm across the 13 years between 1973 and 1986 ran on the seasonal rhythm Ezra had documented. Spring farrowing opened in the cool, damp first week of March every year. Summer pasture rotation ran in 5-week cycles across the 4 40-acre quadrants of the hillside between May and September. Autumn hardwood forest forage opened in the cool, clear first week of October when the white oak acorns began to drop. Winter shelter at the lower barn farrowing shed opened in the cool, damp first week of December when the temperatures dropped below 25 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Naomi handled the morning herd walk every dawn across the 13 years. She walked the upper pasture fence line at 5:45 every morning. She counted the herd against the farm journal. She noted any animal that looked off or moved differently or held back from the group. She brought any concern to Levi at the lower barn at 6:15. Levi handled the farrowing shed birthings. He attended every spring litter between February and April. The herd produced approximately 50 piglets per spring across the working years. Naomi and Levi retained the best 12 or 14 for replacement breeding stock and culled the rest to butcher weight pasture finishing across the next 18 months. Esther began the daily egg collection from the small chicken flock at age 6 in 1968. She continued the egg collection until she left for the University of Missouri in August 1980. Jonah handled the lower barn feed cart and water trough rotation across the same period until he left for college in August 1977. The Mulefoot hog breed had been bred in the southern American Mississippi River bottomlands continuously since the early 1800s. Spanish colonial pigs and English importation pigs had crossed in the bottomland forests of Arkansas and Louisiana and Mississippi and southern Missouri. The breed's distinctive solid single-toed hoof emerged from that cross over the next 80 years. The single-toed hoof gave the breed 3 documented advantages over commercial cloven hoof breeds. First, the hoof resisted hoof rot in wet bottomland soils. Second, the hoof handled the rocky Ozark hillside terrain better than commercial breeds. Third, the hoof structure correlated with a documented resistance to commercial swine fever transmission through soil contact infection routes. The American Mulefoot field population reached approximately 40,000 head by the 1880s. The commercial swine industry conversion to Yorkshire and Hampshire and Duroc breeds across the late 19th and early 20th century period quietly reduced the Mulefoot field population to approximately 180 head by the autumn of 1970. Ezra Hartley's closed 40-head herd in 1971 represented approximately 22% of the entire surviving American Mulefoot population. The American Livestock Breeds Conservancy, founded at Pittsboro, North Carolina in 1977, listed the Mulefoot as one of the 7 critically endangered American heritage livestock breeds in their first annual breed status report of 1978. The Conservancy listed the Hartley operation at Gainesville, Missouri, as the largest field-scale working Mulefoot herd in the country in the same report. The American Mulefoot Hog Association at Carthage, Missouri was founded on the cool, clear Saturday afternoon of October 11, 1980. Naomi attended the founding meeting as one of 8 Missouri Mulefoot breeders. The other 7 founding members were Mr. Asa Bradshaw III of Mountain View, Arkansas, Mr. James Patterson of Joplin, Missouri, Mrs. Hannah Whitmore of Springfield, Missouri, Mr. Caleb Yoder of Bethel, Missouri, Mr. Theodore Sutherland of Lebanon, Missouri, Mr. Ezekiel Lapp of Cassville, Missouri, and Mr. Wilbur Pickering of Carthage, Missouri. The 8 founding members elected Wilbur Pickering as the founding president and Naomi Hartley as the founding secretary. The Hartley farm at Gainesville received a federal mandate Pseudorabies surveillance testing notification from the Missouri State Veterinarian's Office on the cool, damp Wednesday afternoon of June 11, 1986. The notification required every commercial and heritage swine operation in Ozark County to blood test the entire herd within 60 days. Naomi opened the federal envelope at the kitchen table that afternoon with Levi and Jonah and Esther beside her. Esther read the notification aloud. She had completed her veterinary degree 6 weeks earlier. She told the family that the federal program was the USDA APHIS, National Pseudorabies Eradication Program. She told them every blood test positive animal would be required to go to slaughter under federal quarantine. She told them she would draw the blood samples herself and ship them to the Missouri State Veterinarian's Diagnostic Laboratory at Columbia. Esther drew blood samples from the working 68-head herd at the lower barn farrowing shed cross-tie post across the cool, damp Saturday morning of June 14, 1986. She shipped the 68 blood vials by overnight refrigerated courier from the Gainesville Post Office to the Missouri State Veterinarian's Diagnostic Laboratory at Columbia the following Monday morning. The diagnostic laboratory results came back on the cool, damp Thursday afternoon of June 26, 1986. All 68 blood samples were negative for Pseudorabies virus. The Hatfield Commercial Hog Farm across the section road received its federal Pseudorabies surveillance notification on the same Wednesday afternoon. Floyd ordered his farm veterinarian doctor, Roy Pettibone, to draw blood samples from the working 240-head Yorkshire-Hampshire-Duroc commercial herd across the cool, damp first 3 days of June 17th through 19th, 1986. Roy shipped the 240 blood vials to the Missouri State Veterinarian's Diagnostic Laboratory at Columbia by overnight refrigerated courier on the cool, damp Friday morning of June 20th, 1986. The diagnostic laboratory results came back on the cool, damp Thursday afternoon of June 26, 1986. 71 of the 240 Hatfield Commercial Hog Farm blood samples tested positive for Pseudorabies virus. The federal quarantine arrived at the Hatfield farm at 4:18 on the cool, damp Thursday afternoon. The Missouri State Veterinarian's Office field officer, Mr. Earl Crawford, drove out from Columbia in a State Fleet Ford Bronco with the Missouri State Veterinarian shield on the door. Earl posted the federal quarantine signs at the 4 cross fence corners of the Hatfield commercial holding pens. Earl scheduled the federal contract slaughter transport truck pickup for the cool, damp Monday morning of June 30th, 1986. Floyd Hatfield watched the federal slaughter transport truck arrive at his commercial holding pen at 6:12 on the cool, damp Monday morning. The truck driver loaded 71 Yorkshire-Hampshire-Duroc commercial hogs into the trailer across the next 4 hours. The truck left for the federal contract slaughter facility at Springfield, Missouri at 10:28. Floyd stood at the cross-fence corner of the section road in his yellow polyester shirt and his red ball cap and watched the truck pull onto State Highway 160. He did not call Harold or Verlon that morning. He went back to the small clapboard farmhouse and sat at the kitchen table without speaking until evening. The Cordell Commercial Hog Farm 3 miles east tested 98 positives out of 196 commercial hogs. The Cantrell Commercial Hog Farm 4 miles south tested 112 positives out of 214 commercial hogs. The Missouri State Veterinarian's Office field officer posted federal quarantine signs at both farms across the cool, damp first week of July, 1986. The federal slaughter transport trucks loaded the combined commercial herds across the cool, damp first 2 weeks of July. The Hartley farm at Gainesville reported 0 Pseudorabies positives across the entire June and July test cycle. The Missouri State Veterinarian's Office issued the formal clean herd certification letter to the Hartley farm on the cool, damp Tuesday afternoon of July 22, 1986. Esther filed the clean herd certification letter in the back bedroom dresser beside Ezra's leather farm journal. The University of Missouri-Columbia College of Veterinary Medicine swine specialist Dr. Catherine Hollister telephoned the Hartley farmhouse at 3:11 on the bright, clear Friday afternoon of August 15, 1986. Naomi lifted the black wall-mounted Bell System receiver above the icebox. Catherine spoke for 14 minutes. She told Naomi the College of Veterinary Medicine had identified the Hartley farm as the largest field-scale clean herd heritage Mulefoot operation in the country. She told Naomi the college had been tracking the Hartley operation through the American Mulefoot Hog Association annual reports continuously since the founding of the association in 1980. She told Naomi she planned to drive out from Columbia to inspect the Hartley operation in person the following Tuesday morning. Catherine drove out from Columbia to Gainesville on the bright, clear Tuesday morning of August 19, 1986, in a dark green University Fleet Plymouth Reliant station wagon. She arrived at the open Hartley farm gate at 9:14. Naomi and Levi and Jonah and Esther met her at the gate. The four Hartleys walked Catherine down the limestone yard to the lower barn farrowing shed. Catherine inspected the working 68-head Mulefoot herd across the next 3 hours. She read Ezra's leather farm journal at the kitchen table after lunch. She read the 48 years of Sunday evening entries in slow, careful silence. She finished the journal at 3:03. She closed the journal and set it down on the kitchen table. She told Naomi the herd was the largest field-scale, clean-closed Mulefoot operation in the country. She told Naomi the College of Veterinary Medicine would file a formal commendation report to the USDA APHIS National Animal Disease Center at Ames, Iowa, the following Friday morning. She told Naomi she would recommend the Hartley Farm as the federal reference site for the Heritage Mulefoot Breed Stock Recovery Program. The USDA APHIS National Animal Disease Center at Ames Senior Heritage Livestock Specialist Dr. Wendell Bartholomew telephoned the Hartley farmhouse at 2:11 on the cool, dry Friday afternoon of September 12, 1986. Naomi lifted the black receiver. Wendell offered the Hartley farm a federal emergency procurement contract for foundation breed stock semen and breeding pairs. The contract price was $1,800 per breeding boar semen straw and $4,200 per breeding pair. The commercial Yorkshire-Hampshire-Duroc rate at the Springfield Livestock Exchange the previous Friday was $12 per straw and $140 per breeding pair. The federal premium ran approximately 30 times the commercial rate on the breeding pairs. The total contract value across the 5-year contract period came to approximately $380,000 per year. Naomi and Levi and Jonah and Esther signed a federal contract at the kitchen table on the bright, clear Friday afternoon of September 19, 1986. The American Mulefoot Hog Association at Carthage invited Naomi to deliver the opening plenary address at the 6th Annual Mulefoot Conference at Carthage, Missouri, on the cool, clear Saturday morning of October 18, 1986. Naomi drove the 240 highway miles north from Gainesville to Carthage in the family pickup truck on the cool, clear Friday afternoon of October 17, 1986. Levi and Jonah and Esther rode with her. The four Hartleys arrived at the Carthage Holiday Inn at 6:20 in the cool, dry Friday evening. Naomi delivered the 40-minute opening plenary address at the Carthage Civic Center on the cool, clear Saturday morning of October 18th at 10:30. The address was a typed 8-page address she had drafted at the kitchen table across the cool, damp first 2 weeks of October. The audience was approximately 140 Mulefoot breeders and University of Missouri-Columbia faculty and USDA APHIS National Animal Disease Center entomologists and American Livestock Breeds Conservancy field officers. The audience stood at the close of the 40-minute address in a single, quiet motion. They did not applaud. The standard monthly Ozark County Commercial Swine Producers Association meeting at the Gainesville Lions Club Hall on the cool, damp Saturday afternoon of November 1st, 1986, was the first OCCSPA meeting Naomi and Levi and Jonah and Esther attended after the federal contract signing. The 17 members present represented 37% of the 46 attendants of the April 1973 meeting. Catherine Hollister's field visit on the bright, clear Tuesday morning of August 19, 1986, included a detailed 3-hour Mulefoot herd inspection at the lower barn farrowing shed cross-tie post. Catherine watched the 68 working hogs file through the farrowing shed alleyway for the morning health check. She checked the solid single-toed hooves on 12 sample animals against the breed standard reference photograph she carried in her clinical notebook. She measured the chest girth on 6 sample sows. She measured the lop-ear droop angle on 4 sample bores. She listened to the lung and heart auscultation on every adult breeding animal. The clinical workup ran without incident. Every animal showed clean, clear breath sounds and steady heart rates and full Mulefoot breed standard confirmation. Catherine wrote 18 pages of clinical notes at the cross-tie post in slow, careful longhand across the 3 hours. She read Ezra's leather farm journal at the kitchen table after lunch. The journal ran from October 1923 to October 1971. The entries averaged 80 to 120 words per week. Catherine read every Sunday entry from start to finish. She finished the journal at 3 minutes past 3 in the bright, clear Tuesday afternoon. She closed the journal and set it down on the kitchen table beside the empty coffee mug. She said quietly to Naomi, "This is the most carefully kept American heritage livestock farm journal I have ever read." Catherine drove back to Columbia on the bright, clear Tuesday afternoon at 5:20. She filed her formal commendation report at the University of Missouri-Columbia College of Veterinary Medicine Faculty Archive on the cool, dry Friday morning of August 22, 1986. The report ran 24 pages. She forwarded a copy to the USDA APHIS National Animal Disease Center at Ames, Iowa, on the same Friday morning. The Ames forwarding copy reached the senior heritage livestock specialist, Dr. Wendell Bartholomew, on the bright, clear Wednesday morning of August 27, 1986. Wendell read the report across the next 9 days. He drafted the federal emergency procurement contract on the cool, damp Thursday afternoon of September 11, 1986. He authorized the federal procurement budget through the USDA APHIS Heritage Livestock Recovery Authority on the same Thursday afternoon. He telephoned the Hartley farmhouse the following Friday afternoon at 2:11. The federal procurement contract value for the 5-year contract period came to approximately $380,000 per year in federal procurement revenue. The total 5-year contract value came to approximately $1.9 million. The Hartley farm operation grossed approximately $29,000 per year in commercial pork sales across the previous 5 working years. The federal contract represented approximately 13 times the working commercial pork annual revenue. The federal contract delivered the first quarterly payment of approximately $95,000 to the Hartley operation at the Ozark County Bank at Gainesville on the cool, damp Friday afternoon of October 10, 1986. The combined federal procurement revenue and the annual commercial pork sales gave the Hartley operation a calendar year 1986 gross of approximately $409,000. The combined Hatfield-Cordell-Cantrell foreclosed operations had a calendar year 1986 operating loss of approximately $168,000 across the 3 foreclosed properties. The Carthage Heritage Pork Cooperative at Carthage, Missouri, founded by Wilbur Pickering in the cool, clear autumn of 1978, had been the working specialty meat buyer outlet for the founding 8-member American Mulefoot Hog Association breeders since 1980. The cooperative ran a hand-cured heritage pork sales operation out of a small clapboard storefront on Garrison Avenue in downtown Carthage. The cooperative bought heritage Mulefoot dressed carcass pork from the founding member breeders at $4.40 per pound across the working years. The Springfield Livestock Exchange commercial pork commodity rate in the same period ran between 48 cents and 72 cents per pound. The Carthage cooperative premium ran approximately 6 to 9 times the commercial commodity rate. The cooperative shipped hand-cured heritage Mulefoot bacon and country ham and sausage to specialty grocers and high-end restaurants across the Ozarks and the lower Midwest. The cooperative carried approximately 24 founding member account regular customers from the start. The customer roster grew to approximately 68 regular customers by the autumn of 1985. The Hartley farm sold approximately 12 cull-finished barrel-grade Mulefoot hogs to the Carthage Heritage Pork Cooperative every autumn between 1980 and 1985 at the $4.40 per pound premium rate. The annual Carthage Cooperative pork sales revenue at the Hartley farm averaged approximately $14,000 per year across the working years. The combined Carthage cooperative revenue and the federal procurement contract revenue and the egg supply revenue gave the Hartley operation a calendar year 1986 gross of approximately $423,000. The Smithsonian Institution, National Museum of American History, Agricultural History Division contacted Naomi at the Hartley farmhouse on the cool, damp Tuesday afternoon of November 11, 1986. The contact came through a junior Smithsonian curator named Dr. Helena Brockman, who had read the August 1986 Catherine Hollister formal commendation report on the Hartley operation. Helena was preparing a permanent Smithsonian exhibit on American heritage livestock breed preservation work. She wanted to include the Hartley Mulefoot operation as the central case study of the closed herd preservation methodology. She wanted to acquire 2 of the original 1897 World's Pork Congress Bradshaw purchase receipt documents that Asa Bradshaw III had given to Ezra Hartley as a heritage livestock historical gift in March 1970. She wanted Naomi to travel to Washington, D.C. for a recorded oral history interview at the Smithsonian Agricultural History Archive. Naomi accepted the Smithsonian invitation on the cool, damp Saturday afternoon of November 15, 1986. She traveled to Washington, D.C. by Amtrak from St. Louis Union Station on the cool, damp Friday morning of January 9, 1987. She arrived at Washington Union Station at 4:12 on the cool, damp Saturday afternoon. She gave the 8-hour Smithsonian oral history interview at the Agricultural History Archive across the cool, damp Monday and Tuesday of January 12th and 13th, 1987. The Smithsonian curators recorded the interview on quarter-inch reel-to-reel audio tape and on field camera original 16mm color film. The Smithsonian Permanent Exhibit on American Heritage Livestock Breed Preservation opened at the National Museum of American History Agricultural History Wing on the bright, clear Saturday morning of June 20th, 1987. The exhibit included a large interpretive panel on the Hartley Mulefoot operation. The panel carried a photograph of Naomi and Levi and Jonah and Esther at the Hartley farm, taken by Helena across the cool, damp January 12, 1987 Smithsonian field visit. The panel carried a brief written history of the closed Hartley herd from 1923 through 1987. The panel sits today in the National Museum of American History Agricultural History Wing on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian permanent exhibit visitors number approximately 12,000 per year. Floyd Hatfield walked to the raised wooden lectern at 2:33 on the cool, damp Saturday afternoon of November 1st. He wore a plain, washed white cotton dress shirt, borrowed from his eldest brother. He wore a plain, dark gray wool tie. He wore polished, low brown leather Oxford shoes. He had no red commercial feed ball cap. He had no beer. He had no typed Founder Trio script. Floyd cleared his throat once into the gooseneck microphone. He said in a voice no one in the room had heard before that he had not come as the founder president of the Ozark County Commercial Swine Producers Association. He said the OCCSPA had been formally dissolved at a Monday evening special meeting at the Hatfield-Cordell-Cantrell Post-Quarantine Charity Rooming House at Gainesville on the previous Monday, October 27, 1986. He said the dissolution had been by unanimous vote of the three founder trio members. He said he had come to the November 1st meeting to apologize publicly and on the record to Naomi and Levi and Jonah and Esther Hartley. He said the apology was for the 13 consecutive years of monthly meeting, humor paragraph readings the founder trio had directed at the Hartley Mulefoot operation between April 14, 1973 and April 13, 1986. Floyd read aloud a careful longhand three-paragraph apology he had written at the rooming house kitchen table across the cool, damp Wednesday afternoon of October 29, 1986. He finished reading at 2:41. He folded the three-paragraph apology and placed it on the front lip of the lectern. He stepped down off the lectern. He walked across the Lions Club Hall main floor meeting room to the third row of folding chair seats. He stopped at the third row seat where Naomi was sitting. He held his thick, fleshy hands flat against the front of his borrowed white cotton dress shirt. He said quietly, "I am sorry." Naomi did not stand up. She lifted her clear gray eyes across the folding chair armrest distance and met Floyd's sunburned hazel eyes for 3 slow seconds. She nodded once. She said quietly, "Thank you." Harold Cordell and Verlin Cantrell in the front row folding chair seats did not stand up at any point during the November 1st meeting. They did not speak at any point during the meeting. The cool, dry Friday evening of November 21st, 1986 was 20 days after the apology meeting. Naomi and Levi and Jonah and Esther sat together at the kitchen table by a Coleman white gas lantern. The lantern threw gold and blue light across the back bedroom dresser where Ezra's leather farm journal sat. Naomi wrote her Sunday evening entry for the week. The entry was 15 words. It read, "The herd is 68 head, clean closed and sound, and the work continues. The work continued. The work would continue. The first federal procurement contract semen and breeding pair shipment from the Hartley farm to the USDA APHIS National Animal Disease Center at Ames, Iowa, left the Gainesville post office on the cool, damp Monday morning of October 20th, 1986. The shipment included 12 frozen semen straws from the working boar Atlas III and 2 breeding pairs from the closed Hartley herd. The shipment traveled by federal contract refrigerated truck transport from Gainesville to Springfield, Missouri to Kansas City to Ames across 3 days. The shipment arrived at the Ames National Animal Disease Center, receiving dock on the cool, damp Thursday morning of October 23, 1986. Wendell Bartholomew signed for the shipment at the receiving dock at 9:12. He logged the shipment into the Federal Heritage Livestock Recovery Laboratory inventory across the next 4 hours. He filed the shipment receipt confirmation with the Hartley farm by certified mail on the cool, damp Friday afternoon of October 24, 1986. The federal contract scheduled additional quarterly shipments across the cool, damp first week of January, and the bright, clear first week of April, and the warm, dry first week of July, and the cool, dry first week of October, every year, across the 5-year contract period. The Hartley operation handled the 4 shipments per year continuously from October 1986 through October 1991. Floyd Hatfield and Harold Cordell and Verlin Cantrell stayed at the Hatfield-Cordell-Cantrell rooming house at Gainesville across the cool, damp last quarter of 1986. The 3 of them found work at the Howell County Lumber Mill at West Plains in March 1987. Floyd worked the morning lumber sorter station. Harold worked the afternoon kiln loader station. Verlin worked the evening sawmill cleanup station. The 3 of them took the bus from Gainesville to West Plains every weekday morning at 5:30 across the next 11 years. Floyd retired from the lumber mill at age 73 in March 1998. Harold retired at age 71 in March 1998. Verlin died of a heart attack at the lumber mill sawmill cleanup station on the cool, damp Wednesday morning of February 18, 1997, at the age of 73. He had worked the evening cleanup station for 10 years and 11 months. The Hartley farm continued the 5-year federal procurement contract through October 1991. Wendell Bartholomew renewed the contract for a second 5-year cycle in November 1991. The herd grew from 68 head in the autumn of 1986 to 94 head by the autumn of 1990. The American Mulefoot Hog Association named the Hartley Farm the founding reference site of the Breed Recovery Program at the 10th Annual Conference at Carthage on the cool, clear Saturday morning of October 16, 1990. Jonah took over as the working herd genetics manager at the Hartley Farm in 1986 and continued the role continuously across the next 38 years. Esther took over as the working herd veterinarian in 1986 and continued the role continuously across the same period. Naomi continued the Sunday evening farm journal entries at the kitchen table until her own death in November 2012 at the age of 76. Levi continued the morning herd walk until his own death in March 2015 at the age of 83. Ezra's leather farm journal sits today in the back bedroom dresser at the Hartley farmhouse on the section road 3 miles east of Gainesville, Missouri. The herd holds at approximately 110 head. The work continues.